Let's talk about Scotland, a place that's run by an SNP government that initially decided to cancel women, then men, and now science. I absolutely feel sorry for the majority of ordinary, logical and rational Scottish people who have to tolerate this SNP government. You must have heard by now that the Gender Recognition Act has now been passed by the Scottish Parliament and, of course, backed up by the SNP and all the other left-wing parties as well. Don't forget, it's not just the SNP, it's all the others in that chamber. Things are getting worse when it comes to women's safety, when it comes to logic, when it comes to the safety of and well-being of children. This is about the Gender Recognition Reform Bill that was passed by 86 votes to 39. Now, this is an absolutely embarrassing week and era for Scottish politics and British politics in general, because it's going to affect the whole of the country. Now, The Guardian are going to be writing a headline like this, that the Scottish Government held a historic day as members of the Scottish Parliament have passed this reform bill. This is quite interesting. They always use certain words, nice words, to pass their most vicious agendas. And this is quite weird because the whole of the agenda is being run by people who have a certain goal, some sort of ideological goal, but they always use useful idiots in the political system and in the media to push ahead. Now, what's going on here exactly? So they basically passed this bill, which means that going forward, not just 18, if you're 16 or 17 years old, you can just completely change your pronouns and gender and everything without even getting diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Now, this is quite weird because one of the things that they're doing is allowing kids to change their birth certificates. This is going to be problematic for a number of reasons. We're going to talk about this, but of course, also women's safety, because at this point, you don't really need to go through any process. You don't need to get, as I said, diagnosed with anything, with a condition. You can simply just declare yourself whatever you want, and you can get free access to wherever you want, whether it's in terms of public bathrooms or in prisons, or obviously that also applies to sports. Now, in terms of the public spaces, that is about women's safety, so that's problematic anyway. In terms of the birth certificate, that's just going against science and logic, because what you were born with is what you were born as. And so whatever it says on your birth certificate about your weight, for example, of course your weight has changed. Doesn't mean you can change it on the birth certificate. It makes no sense what they're thinking about. They're politicians, they're useful idiots who are going ahead and allowing this essentially hard left agenda that is going to be dividing the West to bring down the system to create their own dystopia. That is the reality. That's what they want. They want to bring down every aspect of the Western civilization, because that will help them start from scratch and build a better world for the nutters. It is bad because, of course, we have to talk about the women's safety, but at the same time, one of the issues that we're currently facing is everything's going to be all over the place. Not many people are talking about the children. Children. A lot of these kids in America and in Britain and in Canada and many other places who, even despite this bill, even before this, even when it came to going through the process, getting diagnosed, a lot of people went through detransition afterwards when they grew up, because they said, oh, well, they told me I was a kid. They told me I'm this or I'm that, and I have to do it. But in reality, that wasn't the case, and they changed their mind. Now, one of the MSPs, members of the Scottish Parliament, Pam Gossel, actually they made a very good speech about this and about the fact that there is another problem with it. That is the fact that the Scottish Parliament and the SNP government have no respect for a process.
I stand here today with a heavy heart. I'm disappointed in the parliamentary process and the Parliament itself, which has made a mockery of democracy on Tuesday evening. I urge all members to reflect on the countless constructive amendments that have been brought forward in good faith, only to be voted down regardless.
Well, that's the thing. What's the point in having a parliamentary democracy when you can't get anything done? It's one of the situations where, for example, in the European Parliament, we always talk about they create these parliamentary groups instead of parties. And the reality is, the cabal will always get away with what they want. And nothing actually changes. All the debates you're going to have are fake debates because there's no real democracy.
I urge members to vote against a bill that betrays the rights of one group to the convenience of another. I ask members to consider whether they want to be remembered as someone who threw caution to the wind when it came to safe spaces for women and girls.
Yes, absolutely. And again, those on the political left who have been claiming to be feminists and pro-women, they are the ones right now who are betraying the same women and girls who they've been claiming to support in solidarity. Sisterhood is now out the window. Safety for children is out the window. And of course, men have been cancelled as well. So that's apparently that's not really a priority right now. Yeah, men don't matter. Everything's fine. Let's just focus on everybody else. It's about people, individuals, self-determination and individual liberty. In your own personal life, I don't care what you do. You can be whatever you want, you can be whoever you want, you can be however you're going to dress or whatever you do. It's about when you impose it onto other people and the rest of society. It's about how you create an authoritarian system using compassion. And this is a problem that I have on this channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm Tousi and we are the media.